morning. Welcome on this chilly Monday morning, November 22nd. 22nd? Yes. Sally Crocker, good morning to you. Welcome everyone this morning. Don Hoverson, good morning. Dana Krieshock, Karen Faust, welcome. Debbie King, good morning. Jim and Kathy Fuente, welcome to you. Janisa, good morning. Deanne Fine, good morning. You were missed yesterday, Deanne. I suppose you guys were out of town, or maybe Tyler was preaching yesterday. I hope you had a wonderful day. Stephen Andrea, good morning. Barbara Richardson. Wow, Barbara, you're live this morning, so your phone is fixed. Hopefully you don't get the problems you were having before. Daryl and Suzanne, good morning. Sonia Jordan, good morning to you. Welcome, everyone. I'm back in the Psalms this morning. Ecclesiastes wasn't doing it for me, so I went ahead and did my normal Psalm routine, and which was nice. It was a good morning for it. Charlie Throssell, good morning. Good to see you. So I was in Psalm 52 this morning, and yeah, you know, it's an interesting thing. You know, my normal characteristic is always, defaulted for whatever reason to perfectionism. I talk about this pretty frequently, and so I have to speak truth to the reality of things. And what came to mind for me today is, this idea of the battle of the what ifs. So what happens is, yesterday was a pretty great day at church and worship, and we had a great 9 a.m. hour, great discussion in that class, and we had a great worship service, receiving, welcoming 20 new members of Grace, and great time as together as a family, church family, right? Martha and I, we went out to lunch yesterday. We don't normally go out to lunch, just the two of us. So we had this time. We walked around Sutter Creek. We had a great meal. One of my favorite things is one-on-one intimate conversation with anybody, but especially with Martha, and being able to process things, process life, process the day. I just felt so energized by that at our lunchtime. We saw our nephew who works there. We played cards with my mom in the afternoon. I lost, but that's okay. I'm getting over it. We talked to both of our girls last night, and everything was great. So what is the thought you have when you first wake up on a Monday morning after such a great day? Well, if you're a perfectionist like me, you think of that one thing. It's like, that one thing that you either an offhand comment, or you neglected something that you wanted to pay attention to, but maybe you thought by neglecting that I communicated the wrong message, like I don't value somebody else and what they think is important. Whatever it is, it could be any list of things. And I mean trivial things, not real weighty things, just the trivial things that just didn't go quite the way you'd want. That's where my mind was this morning. I'm like, Lord, really? What is going on in this heart? And you start thinking about those trivial things, and as it relates to like the church and your responsibilities and everything, and you think, people, this feeds into, I'm being kind of vulnerable today, and it's ridiculous, but I have to talk about it. It's an important part of my process here. that I start catastrophizing about it, right? So you think like, oh, people they see that one flaw and they're like, they're not going to stick around at Grace. They're going to decide you're not the kind of leader, whatever. And again, this is ridiculous. And I was journaling about this morning because I was frustrated about why is that thought in my head, and I actually penned the words that I was literally thinking, and the fears and the what ifs and the whatever. And as I looked at what I was writing, I'm thinking, this is ridiculous. It is nothing near the truth. Yet that's where my brain is spinning. So it was really important to write it down because it just was utter ridiculousness. And yet, my process. So what do I do? And this is a tool that I use all the time in just life. But I have to speak truth to the darkness. I have to speak truth to the fears. Like, that's not true. That's not even based in reality, this whatever you're feeling. And as I read the Psalms, to kind of go to the Lord with all of this, Psalm 52 really spoke to it in a unique way. So this is where we're landing today. So in Psalm 52, David has just been sold out by someone who, so David is on at this point. He's on the run from Saul. So David hasn't been anointed king yet in an official way over Jerusalem. Saul's still on the throne, yet David has been promised the throne by God. Nathan the prophet has anointed him. David is in the service of the king. He's leading battles and so on on behalf of the king, yet the king is trying to kill him at the same time. So we know this kind of strange story about David's life just before he's crowned king. He's already been anointed king by Samuel the prophet. Did I say Nathan earlier? Samuel the prophet. And yet he's not crowned yet. So he's waiting on the Lord. I'm waiting on you, God, for this. And Saul's trying to kill him. Well, there's this guy named Doeg that sells him out. It's like, hey, David's hiding here, so you can go get him. And Doeg thinks he's going to get rewarded by King Saul. And so David writes about this in Psalm 52. He says, why do you boast of evil, O mighty man? The steadfast love endures all the day. So he begins with this contrast. Why do you think that doing wrong that you're doing against me is going to prevail? The steadfast love endures all the day long. I've been anointed king. It's only a matter of time before I sit on that throne. Don't you think I'm going to remember that you've sold me out? God's going to protect my steps. So he goes on and he talks more about how the steadfast love of God will protect him against his enemies. But then he says this about himself at the end of the psalm, beginning with verse 8. And these are the words that really speak life when we are facing fears or parts of our shortcomings or flaws that seem to be annoying in our lives and so on. And it says this in Psalm 52, verse 8, But I, David, speaking of himself, but I am like a green olive tree in the house of the Lord. I mean, this image of this beautiful, life-giving olive tree that produces a rich oil, both for consumption as well as medicinal value. It really pictures life and goodness, good things, and it's planted right in the house of the Lord. The dwelling of God. I mean, there's this rich image. That's like me, David says. That's where I am. And instead of turning to fear, this is where I'm going with this. Instead of turning to fear, it's like, oh no, the king knows where I'm at. Oh no, this person, I knew. If you look back in the scenario, David sees this person in this space that he knows. I don't know if he makes eye contact with him or something, but he knows. And he suspects, I bet that guy's going to go tell the king that he saw me. And that's in fact what he does. So there's plenty of time for David to catastrophize between the time he sees him and the time he learns that that's in fact what happened. The guy went and sold David out. And I'm like, oh no. Well, what if he tells the king? Oh no. What if the king knows where I'm at? And should I stay here? Should I move to the next village? How should I continue on the run? What's going to happen to me? They're going to find me, and Saul's going to prevail over me. He's going to kill me. He doesn't pen anything like that, though I believe those thoughts could very well be in David's mind. However, that's not what he writes. He speaks truth, and this is where when we start battling the what ifs and the flaws and the annoyances and the shortcomings of life, we have to speak truth. Because oftentimes the lie is utter ridiculousness when you think about the truth. David said, I'm like an olive tree planted richly in the house of God. The steadfast love endures forever. God has made promises toward me. He's anointed me as king. That's not happened yet. So it will happen. I just know, It's like when you're watching a movie and the main character is really in a tough spot. You don't know if they're going to survive. They're running for their life. But, you kind of pull yourself out of the moment. This is what I do. When I fear something really bad is going to happen to the main character in this movie, because you're right in the middle of it, you're with it, you're feeling the things with them, I kind of pull out for a second. It's like, hey, this is a movie. This is the main character. Of course he's not going to die, or she is not going to die. They're the hero of the story. She's going to prevail. He's going to prevail. And so, you comfort yourself in that moment. I'm sure this is what David has done. This bad things happened. This bad things went down. And there's a lot of unknown out there. I don't know what's going to happen, actually. But I'm going to speak truth. God is preserving my steps. There's a lot of things he's promised me that haven't taken place yet. I will prevail in this. So I'm just going to keep reading. I trust, David says, I trust in the steadfast love of God forever and ever. I will thank you forever because you have done it. He speaks it in past tense, even though it hasn't happened yet. I will wait. So he returns to the present and commits himself to waiting. I will wait for your name, for it is good in the presence of the godly. So what do we do when we have the case of the what ifs? We speak out that fear. I mean, for me, I had to write it out. I wrote it out and really? That's what's in my brain? That's ridiculous. When I actually write out the actual words of the fears of what I think. And then I apply truth. What does God actually think about me? What is God, what about my future, which is unknown, right? I lay it back into the very capable hands of God. And I will say, I will trust in the Lord. His steadfast love endures forever. And I just move into that sense of trust and truth, and my spirit is consoled. And I can go about my day and yep, that's how I want to live my day. Not in fear, but in trust, in faith, in the God who sees all of my steps. He loves me, and he's walking with me, even if the ridiculous fear should come to pass. I'll give it that. I'll just throw it out there. Even if that stuff comes to pass, God has not forsaken me. He'll walk with me every step of the way. I have that promise of God. His steadfast love endures forever. So walk in that truth. Whenever you have a case of the what ifs, and fear begins to creep in about aspects of your life and who you are and speaking to your identity, all those things, speak the truth about how God actually feels about you. Even if you don't feel that way, God does, and allow his truth to sink into the deep places of your heart and become your reality today. God bless you, and we'll see you again tomorrow morning, Lord willing. Have a great day.